Have you ever felt like you're staring at a door you desperately want to open, but some invisible force keeps you frozen in place? You can sense there's more behind it, a whole other world perhaps, yet the key remains just out of reach, and you're left wondering why you can't step forward. Is there a voice in your head telling you that something is missing, that you're not living up to your potential? You might feel you're just skimming the surface of what life has to offer, uncertain about what lurks beneath. The real question is, why do we feel this nagging emptiness? Perhaps you've noticed how quickly doubt can creep in whenever you think about taking a risk or following your intuition. That tension in your chest, the flutter of panic, could be telling you there's something powerful you're missing, something that's always been right in front of you, yet somehow remains hidden. People around you might say, "Just be confident," or "follow your heart," as though these sentiments alone will solve every problem. But deep down, you sense there's more to it than simple optimism. You wonder, why do I hold back? Why do I hesitate? And you're left with nothing but silence. There are moments when the haze seems to clear, when an idea or desire glows brightly, guiding you forward. But just as you approach, doubt or uncertainty clouds your vision. You step back again, repeating the same old routines. Are you trapped in a cycle, or is it something else holding you captive? Think back to the last time you resisted a bold choice. Did you feel an unspoken heaviness, like unseen chains holding you in place? Most people blame fear or lack of will, but what if there's a deeper issue, a force woven into our psyche, commanding us to stand still when we most need to move? If you've ever felt that your own mind was working against you, you're not alone. There's a silent, invisible barrier that confuses your instincts, distorts your emotions, and numbs your motivation. But you've felt that, haven't you? That moment when your own thoughts betray your goals and you have no idea why. You might blame your past, your circumstances, or even fate. Yet you can't escape the suspicion that something bigger is in play, something deeply rooted in human nature. And every time you sense it, you wonder if you're the only one who sees this silent force shaping your life from the shadows. Ask yourself, why do we shrink when we should expand? Why do we remain silent when our voice could open new doors? Could it be that we're all led by a hidden blueprint we hardly recognize? But here's the truth. It's not enough to simply notice this. We must confront it, unravel it. In the next section, we'll peel back another layer of this mystery. We'll expose the roots that run deeper than any mere fear or doubt. And once you see how this hidden force has shaped entire lives, maybe even yours, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Ready to continue? Carl Jung once spoke of the shadow self, the part of us we refuse to acknowledge. It lurks beneath our polished surface, shaping our fears and motivations. Could this unrecognized side be fueling the silent battle within us? When we deny it, we hand it power to subtly guide our decisions while we remain unaware. H.P. Lovecraft introduced us to unimaginable cosmic horrors, forces so vast they dwarf human comprehension. What if there's a psychological version of that horror we all sense, a nameless dread that quietly informs our every move, reminding us of our fragility? In trying to ignore it, we accidentally allow it to dictate how we live. Edgar Allan Poe explored madness and obsession, extremes born from dark corners of the mind. That same seed of turmoil can be found in each of us, subtly warping our perceptions, pushing us to doubt reality. Is it mere anxiety or something deeper? Perhaps an unconscious ache we can't name but continue to feel every day. Dostoevsky wrote about guilt, crime, and punishment, how inner torment can destroy or transform a person. So many of our choices are tangled in moral conflicts we don't fully understand. We end up fighting a silent war inside ourselves, navigating guilt and shame in the dark. Could these hidden emotions be steering us away from genuine freedom? Friedrich Nietzsche challenged society's values, questioning the roots of morality. He saw how blind adherence to convention can stifle our true potential. We might sense we're conforming to ideals that contradict our innermost truths. Over time, such inner conflict morphs into a silent enemy, eroding resolve and keeping us bound to paths we never chose. Arthur Schopenhauer saw life as a battleground of ceaseless striving. If that existential struggle is woven into our nature, perhaps we're trapped in cycles of yearning and despair. We crave meaning, but our fears keep us from pursuing it wholeheartedly. Is it possible we're unconsciously adopting this eternal conflict as the backdrop of our lives? Aldous Huxley warned us about losing individuality in a world driven by distraction. When society dictates priorities, we might internalize scripts that conflict with our personal truths. Each time we conform to escape discomfort, we feed a hidden force that quietly robs us of authenticity, turning us into mere spectators of our own lives. Jean-Paul Sartre spoke of existential angst, that crushing sense of responsibility for choosing our own path. But many of us, haunted by self-doubt, prefer safety over risk. We let society dictate options. We surrender to the quiet terror of decision, letting external forces shape our destiny. That silent surrender is the core of our hidden problem. Viktor Frankl believed we find purpose even under the harshest conditions. But what if we're so entangled in invisible chains, cultural, psychological, or self-made, that we can't see our purpose? Unseen forces shape our behaviors, strangling our quest for meaning. So we drift, hoping clarity arrives without realizing the enemy is already in the room. All these philosophical insights point to a single truth. We carry a hidden burden inside us, call it doubt, shadow, or existential dread. This burden thrives in denial, weaving its way into every thought. If we never question it, it grows stronger. In the next section, we'll expose how this force quietly tears at our lives, inch by inch. So, what happens when our hidden doubts and unexamined impulses run the show? They shape our actions without our awareness, eroding confidence and twisting our sense of who we are. Over time, we start to question whether our choices were ever truly ours, or just the product of a silent puppeteer pulling the strings. Cognitive biases, like confirmation bias or the sunk cost fallacy, quietly steer us toward familiar paths. Even if they lead nowhere, we cling to comfortable illusions, wasting years stuck in routines or beliefs we've never questioned. Our sense of time warps, and suddenly we look back and wonder where the possibilities went. Cultural conditioning cements our hidden limits. We're taught to accept certain roles, to value predictable safety over innovation or self-discovery. We might dismiss new perspectives, labeling them impossible or reckless. In the end, we let society's unspoken rules dictate how far we can dream, never fully realizing how restricted we've become. From a neurological standpoint, our brains crave certainty, seeking patterns to reduce stress. This survival instinct can backfire, urging us to cling to the familiar instead of venturing into the unknown. Each missed opportunity solidifies the neural paths of fear, reinforcing the cycles that keep us locked in place year after year. Our relationships suffer too. When we silently wrestle with unresolved tensions, we project them onto others. We judge too quickly, blame too easily, and push away those who challenge our self-image, all because we're defending an internal fault line we barely admit exists. These fractures deepen, silently shattering our social bonds. In society at large, this hidden force becomes even more destructive. We conform, assume someone else will fix the problems. We turn a blind eye to injustice, or remain silent in the face of lies, just to keep the peace. Over time, complacency spreads, and entire communities lose sight of truth, settling for comfortable illusions. Authority figures often exploit our unspoken fears. By dangling promises of security or acceptance, they persuade us to surrender individuality. We rationalize giving up freedom, not realizing that our silent predator, this hidden doubt, craves the familiar stability such authority offers. Before we know it, we've handed over our power without a fight. Think of all the unlived lives, the ambitions we quietly bury, the sparks we never ignite. We assure ourselves we'll do it someday, but someday keeps slipping away. This quiet sabotage poisons our potential, leaving behind regrets and a haunting sense that we were capable of more, but never found the courage to break free. When we look honestly at these consequences, it's chilling to realize we've been led by a force we never truly named. Every missed opportunity, every needless conflict, each lingering regret, pieces of a puzzle built by our own neglect. The price is high, but most never see the full cost until it's far too late. Now that we sense the damage, what next? We can't ignore these hidden threads anymore, not unless we're prepared to accept a life half-lived. But what if there's another way? An awakening that allows us to stand boldly in the face of our own shadows. In the next section, we'll uncover how to push back and reclaim our power. The realization of our unseen chains may feel overwhelming, but it also marks the start of rebellion. Once we recognize the subtle tyranny of fear, doubt, and conformity, we can plan our escape. It begins with a simple vow. No more quiet acceptance, no more drifting through life. Change is possible the moment we believe it is. The first step is self-inquiry. Write down the goals you've abandoned, the ideas you've shelved. Ask yourself, why did I let them go? Pinpoint your hidden fears. By naming them, you shine a light into the darkness. Self-awareness is like a key that unlocks a stubborn door. Once found, it's impossible to ignore. Next, challenge your narratives. We often cling to old stories. I'm not good enough. It's too late to try, or people will judge me. Call them what they are. Stories. They're mental constructs, not facts. If those stories no longer serve you, it's time to rewrite them. Only by breaking from outdated beliefs can you pave a new road. To rebel effectively, you must walk away from blind conformity. Societies often reward obedience and routine, but genuine progress, personal or collective, arises from those courageous enough to question the status quo. Do your daily routines support your growth, or do they feed the hidden force that keeps you small? Discard whatever stifles your true potential. Consider adopting a counterintuitive mindset. Sometimes the most productive move is to step back, reflect, and intentionally disrupt comfortable patterns. True growth can look like rest or retreat before a leap forward. Bold action doesn't always mean recklessness. It means breaking the mold with intelligence, so when you act, you strike with clarity and purpose. Mindset alone isn't enough. You need practical steps. Take small, calculated risks to erode your fear of failure. Put yourself in unfamiliar settings or start new conversations that feel challenging. Each time you venture beyond your comfort zone, you train your mind to embrace the unknown, weakening the hold of those silent, paralyzing forces. Emotional fortitude is crucial. Expect setbacks, criticisms, and even guilt for breaking tradition. But recall Nietzsche's challenge: if the old rules stifle your potential, why cling to them? Each challenge you overcome becomes a stepping stone, not just for external success, but for forging inner strength. In that space, you'll discover the resilience you never knew you had. Draw inspiration from historical figures who defied accepted norms. Think of Galileo questioning universal truths, or civil rights leaders defying unjust systems. Their power was rooted in conviction. When you stand firmly in your evolving truth, old limitations feel less intimidating. You see that boundaries once deemed absolute were merely illusions upheld by silence and fear. Start building a new self-image. View your failures as lessons, not verdicts. Let discipline guide your steps, whether it's writing a single page each day or spending an hour practicing a skill you've always feared tackling. Each act of deliberate, focused effort tears another thread from the web of self-doubt, bridging the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Rebellion starts within. When you stop feeding the whispers of doubt and begin nurturing the voice of possibility, you alter your entire reality. It's not about reckless defiance. It's about informed courage, born of self-awareness. In the final section, we'll deliver the ultimate key, a revelation that can transform this rebellion from a personal battle into a profound redefinition of life itself. We've come a long way, peeling back layers of fear and self-doubt to discover hidden truths. Now, one final curtain remains. Beneath every facade and strategy, there's a core realization, a fundamental insight that changes how you see the world forever. It's the moment everything clicks and your old boundaries dissolve into pure possibility. The last secret is this: the power you seek isn't outside of you. No authority, no system, no mentor can grant what has always been yours. You are both the warden and the liberator of your own mind. The invisible chains were illusions you unconsciously chose to believe, illusions you can now destroy with a single decision. When you deeply accept that your choices forge your reality, responsibility transforms from a burden into empowerment. All past regrets or fears become stepping stones, each one guiding you toward a future of your own making. This radical self-ownership is the key, because once you embrace it, no external force can ever truly hold you back again. But here's the paradox. The more we seek validation from outside, the more power we hand over. True freedom arrives only when we affirm our own worth without waiting for applause or permission. Realizing this can feel like stepping off a cliff, terrifying yet exhilarating. Each time you stand firm in your truth, you prove that no safety net is required. This final unveiling isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about recognizing that what you feared your whole life was a ghost of your own making. When the ghosts of self-doubt fade, you see the raw power that was always there, your authentic self. From that vantage point, your past limits seem almost laughably small. Some call it awakening, others liberation. But the label doesn't matter. What matters is that you finally understand how to step beyond your mental maze. Every choice, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to affirm your true power. And each time you do, you weaken the grip of any lingering shadows. Adversity remains. It always does. Yet you'll find a new resilience. Obstacles transform from insurmountable walls into challenges that sharpen your resolve. You'll take risks that once felt impossible. Why? Because you'll finally understand the only true failure is never attempting what your heart commands. Fear no longer dominates. It becomes fuel for courage. Look closely at the tapestry of your life. Woven into it are threads of every teacher, friend, and foe. You realize now that each thread was a lesson, but the design belongs to you alone. Once you accept total accountability, you also gain total creative power to shape your destiny. No one else can write your story quite like you. Every dawn brings another chance to grow. Instead of being haunted by what if, you wake up eager to sculpt your next move. The world doesn't necessarily become less harsh, but your perspective changes. You become the calm eye of any storm, certain that whatever happens, you'll respond with the clarity of someone who knows their own power. And so we arrive at the ultimate truth. You are the author of your own reality. When you stop waiting for permission or fearing the unseen, you realize that the walls confining you were never real. Step forward, embrace your boundless potential, and let the rest fall away. This is your story. Begin writing it with unwavering conviction.